Did you know the Kardashev scale?
Civilization. We can hardly tell how old it is, but let's assume the critical stuff all began with the writing invention, about 6 millenniums ago. As of today's date, even if 2020 gave us a slight idea of our limits, it's hard to tell whether it's only the beginning of humanity or if we are about to reach its apex. Back in antiquity, we already began to show interest in space. 5,000 years later, we finally reached one of our dreams, and the first man walked on the moon. By now, we're even looking for non-human civilization. Do they exist? And do they evolve the same way as us? Right now, that's a lot of questions we can't really give answers, but we can try to guess it and to predict it. Some great astrophysicists addressed this issue and tried to find answers to measure the unknown, leading us to the subject of this video, the Kardashev scale. Kardashev was a Russian astrophysicist born in 1932, so we can already tell that the researches he has made are pretty recent and viable. In 1964, he designed a scientific scale to categorize a civilization and its technological advancement depending on its energetic consumption per year, the Kardashev scale. This scale originally goes from 0 to 3, but it was later expanded to 6 levels of civilization. So, without further ado, let's dive into it.
Type 0 refers to no energy available yet, which means not a civilization yet. Then comes Type 1, the planetary civilization, which will be reached when we will be able to use all the energy available on Earth, all the energy the Earth receives from the Sun, corresponding to 1.74 multiplied by 10 power 17 watt. At this point, we would have total control over our planet. We would control the weather, tectonic activities, and many more things. Type 2 is a stellar civilization, able to use all the energy coming from their star, the Sun in our case, but not just a lot of its energy, literally using and controlling the total energy radiated by the Sun. It goes along with the construction of the Dyson sphere, a gigantic megastructure of 150 million kilometers radius, which is equal to 1 astronomical unit, that surrounds the Sun and captures the radiations.
Nice.
Humanity would live on the inner surface with an artificial atmosphere, but in order to construct this, we will need at least 1,600 Earth cores, if it's made out of steel. But there are some variants, like the Dyson swarm or ring. This already refers to an inconceivable technological level. At this point, we would be harnessing 1 multiplied by 10 power 26 watt, and we would also be able to control the entire solar system, each asteroid, each planet. Type 3 is a galactic civilization, capable of inhabiting the entire galaxy and harnessing all the energy available in it, about 1 multiplied by 10 power 36 watts, even though this is very different for each galaxy. At this point, the civilization would have billions of Dyson spheres, or even larger structures, and would be able to build and deconstruct planets like Legos.
However, any civilization most likely wouldn't have a flat rate on the Kardashev scale. Indeed, it could be anywhere between two of the milestones we introduced earlier. So, to measure a civilization, we're gonna need an equation introduced by the astronomer Carl Sagan, where P refers to the power consumed in watts.
As the scale is logarithmic, as we go on, the amount of energy a civilization requires gets much more significant. It is linked with an exponential growth curve, meaning that a civilization's energy consumption goes all the way from 0 to astronomical values. Indeed, the energy required for a Type 2 civilization is 10 billions more than for Type 1, and a type 3 needs another 10 billion times what a type 2 needs. As of 2012, P was about 17.54 terawatts, which, if we plug that into the formula, means humanity is a type 0.72 for civilization. So, yeah, we have a long way to go.
According to the scientist Michio Kaku, a trustworthy guy, we might reach the type 1 in the next 100 to 200 years, the type 2 in the next 1000 years, and the type 3 in 100,000 to 1 million years.
Now all those predictions are extremely optimistic. Will we ever reach even the first type? What are the chances that humanity turns out to be stronger than the universe itself? We will first have to be able to face pandemics, atomic warfare, overpopulation, and killer meteors. But let's assume none of these events will ever happen, and humanity evolution has no limits. We could think of an even further future, beyond our imagination. The last three levels of civilization. You can now put your common sense aside, as the following types are even more hypothetical than it already was before, with completely psychedelic dimensions. A type 4 or universal civilization would use 10 to the power of 46 watts and harness the energy of the entire universe, billions of galaxies. They will be able to travel through the entire universe, manipulate space and time, and reach immortality. Type 5 is a multiversal civilization, capable of harnessing the energy of multiple universes, that is to say 10 to the power of 56 watts. The Type 5 civilization would spread in countless parallel universes and manipulate the structure of reality. And finally comes the Type 6, which refers to 10 to the power of 66 watts, an even more abstract type of civilization, which exists throughout time and space and would be able to create universes and multiverses and destroy them just as easily. All those predictions are so far and unlikely to happen that perhaps the Type 1 will never be reached by any civilization. Or maybe we are right now living in a universe created by an unknown Type 6 civilization.